Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we are going to get right into the reading for Cancer. Cards are very jumpy tonight. This is going to be the weekly reading for December 1st to the 7th, Cancer, and this is the first week of December. I'm so excited. I am born in December, actually December 7th is my birthday, Pearl Harbor Day, and I am really looking forward to this entire month. So let's get right into pulling out your angel messages for this week, Cancer. All right, here we go. We have passion. Beautiful. We have flirt. This came out earlier for Gemini. And we have give your relationship a chance. All right, Cancer. Nice energy. Passion, flirt, give your relationship a chance. All feeling really good and positive, right? So let's get your animal spirits out because, of course, we won't really know. Let me just get this fixed a little bit. We won't really know what that all entails for you until we get the rest of your animal spirits and your cards out. And Cancers, I love you so much. You guys have been so supportive, and you have really been coming out in great numbers to watch my videos and to comment, to like, and I really appreciate that. I really hope you know how much it really means to me to have everyone's support. But of course, when one sign shows up so strong like you guys, I have to just say thank you so much. All right, guys, let's get your animal spirits out. Now, we know already what the animal spirits can be. They can be energies becoming available to you. They can be stages that you're starting in your life or personalities that you're dealing with, right? We have the hawk. A regular player in my reading, right? Talking about the eye of fate is upon you, right? Ever watchful, the hawk. We have dragonfly, more air energy. Dragonfly hasn't shown up for a while, but this is one that also shows up quite regularly in my readings. And we have more air energy, firefly. So Cancer, lots of air. 3 air animal spirits for you this week. So let's get right into it before we pull out your spread. The hawk. The hawk is ever watchful, right, Cancer? This is the ability to see everything from the big picture and to also see how all of the little bits and pieces fit in. The hawk is also a messenger of fate or destiny, and oftentimes brings messages into you about what the next step should be or what the next move should be. The hawk is just really a prophetic sort of animal spirit in the sense that this energy comes in when we need reassurance that we are on the right path, reassurance that we are truly following our destiny, and also because it's an air elemental animal spirit, the hawk brings with it a lot of clarity because it is always watchful and because it has such keen insight. For some of you, some solutions will begin to come in that may have been blocking the progress of a particular project or area in your life. And of course, like I said, the hawk is really the messenger of fate or destiny in your life. And so be aware for perhaps either omens or messages or signs coming in that will help you to sort of go in the direction that you should, right? Now, the dragonfly, another air element, but the dragonfly is associated with the Lord of Light and Illusion. This is associated with the mind. Of course, the dragonfly is very light, but it's also sort of very, you know, the light is flickering. It is, you know, it isn't what it can appear, right? It isn't how it seems. So when you see things, have you ever seen a dragonfly sort of over the water? It's like they look like a sparkle of light. You can't really tell what they are. Sometimes they zip in and out. And it's like that with the mind. Sometimes we see things and it just isn't the reality of it, just isn't the way we see it. And so the dragonfly is telling us, comes into a time in our life when we really need to sort of ground ourselves a little bit. There's been a little bit too much sort of, I'm going to say too much sort of like out there thinking. You've allowed your mind to sort of really go out there with a lot of sort of ideas perhaps, and you're being a little bit unrealistic. Or you may be dealing with somebody who's resonating with dragonfly energy, and this is somebody who's going to be talking about things that just aren't realistic. You know, they're They're goals that aren't realistic. They're assessments of scenarios where you're just kind of like, no, I don't think that's what it's like at all. You know, it's just like a real sort of disconnect from reality. And so Dragonfly can come in at a time. This happens oftentimes when we're overworked. This can happen when we're overworked or overstressed. Our mind can begin to become a bit more fragile, a bit more sort of loose, right? And some things that we see or believe to be absolutely true are not that way, right? So just take care. And the Firefly is also air element, but with the Firefly, we talk about great periods of inspiration coming in, right? So the Firefly, again, it's like, boof, the inspiration comes in, the answer comes in, but it's very quick and it's very fleeting. And so when the Firefly is around in your life, you need to be, again, very aware, very watchful, because answers and solutions are going to come into your life for certain things in a way that you least expect. And if you aren't being watchful, if you aren't resonating with some of this hawk energy, you may miss it altogether because it's very quick. Or it may come in the form of something that seems really sort of inconsequential or not important at all, but indeed, if you pay attention, there is your answer and inspiration. All right, Cancer, let's pull out your spreads. We're going to get out anywhere from 3 to 4 spreads for this week for our lovely Cancers. See what you may or may not be going through. And of course, this can't resonate with all Cancers, but if it resonates with you, please like and subscribe or leave me a comment, right? And just take what applies to you and disregard the rest. All right, guys? So we're going to get right into your first forecast for the week. Ace of Wands, 8 of Wands, and the King of Wands. Fire. We have air. Now we have fire. So Ace of Wands. Some of you are indeed starting a new project, a new creative project. You've gotten inspiration, right? Some kind of inspiration has come into you and you are feeling very ambitious about it. You're ready to go full steam ahead. You're very passionate, right? But this week you're met with the 8 of Wands, and this is a lot of sort of conflicting information that may begin to come in. It could be just a lot of attention suddenly that you're getting in a particular area, perhaps in this area with this project that you have sort of like taken under your wing. Right? 8 of Wands talks about a really chaotic time of a lot of energy, a lot of information coming in, and some of it really being unnecessary. Remember what I said earlier about Dragonfly? Dragonfly, again, this is like losing perspective a lot with this energy. And like I said, this can happen when we're overstressed or overstimulated or too much is coming in, right? And so take care this week. You round the week off with the King of Wands, and it's quite interesting. I think that somebody's going to come into you this week that's going to help you with this project. And they're going to help you with this 8 of Wands in a sense. They're going to be like, look, let me show you how to deal with this, right? It could be very, very much the case that this new endeavor is indeed new for you, Cancer, and this 8 of Wands, suddenly there's all of this information coming in has really overwhelmed you. But this King of Wands is an old sort of like hat at it, right? He's very experienced. This is going to be somebody who's like a mentor to you. He's very wise because the King of Wands is anyway a leader in a lot of ways and a mentor and a teacher. And this is going to be somebody who's going to come in and help you with all of this. Perhaps they're going to help you gain some perspective with this hawk energy. And certainly if you're feeling a little bit frazzled, right, you're feeling a little bit of that dragonfly energy, they're going to help bring you back down to the ground so that you can go forward and be a bit more practical. 5 of Pentacles, the Tower, and the 9 of Pentacles. So some of you are going through a power struggle this week. You go through a power struggle. It's very interesting. Some of you may have already been going through a power struggle, right? And you've kind of or you had it in the past. And really you come into this week really kind of dusting yourself off and picking yourself up from having sort of lost that struggle in a way and sort of being sort of having to take a few steps back in your career or your finance. 5 of Pentacles talks about when not only do you have a power struggle within a dynamic or a group, but there's a split and a divide, and you oftentimes are the one is the one who is sort of like ostracized or thrown out of the group. You are the one who has to pay the price financially. This could be an example, could be like if you have a fight with family, or you're living with a boyfriend and you have a fight and one of you break up, and now you have all these extra, one of you move out, excuse me, and now you have all these extra expenses. You know what I'm saying? Or you have you're in a project working environment with someone, and there's this huge sort of power divide, power struggle, and you find yourself having to leave the project. And even though it doesn't actually cost you any money, you end up losing money because now you're not on that project, right? So you're kind of like, so it's one of these type of power struggles that involves you sort of being defeated in a way, but almost always the Five of Wands makes clear the way for much more progress later on. And it's very much, I keep saying to people when this comes up, because this card has come up a lot in my readings this week, it's very much a case of 2 steps back and then eventually 10, 15, 20 steps forward. So you're coming out of this stage, right? You're trying to really get yourself back together and back into the swing of things, and you're met with a tower moment this week. And this tower moment is really much a case of like a wild awakening and blessings. It's a tower moment that, tower moments aren't inherently bad. They're just, it's a moment when the divine and life and the events in your life come in almost as if, they were divinely led, right? Or very fated, and they absolutely destroy everything you believed, right? The tower is your system of belief of what you think the world is and how it behaves and how people behave. And when you have a tower moment, it's a moment of revelation, because life is showing you that you're wrong about that, or that there's something very, very different. And it's like you have this whole crumbling moment of like, wow, I never knew this is what it was really like, or I never knew that this is what they were really like, or whatever the case may be. It's the destruction of our old set of ideas to make way for a new set of ideas. And it can be earth-shattering because our ideas a lot of times are synonymous with our identity. We don't realize it, but they are. This is why we hold on to our opinions so tightly, because a lot of us associate our opinions with who we are, when in fact they're just opinions, right? Now, interestingly enough, this tower moment comes in, and it's a good positive tower moment because you round the week off with rewards suddenly coming in. So for some of you Cancers, it's almost as if you come from a situation of, you come from a situation of like, really having to work your way back up again, struggling after like a split somewhere. But this week, the blessing of some kind of understanding comes in. Somehow, there's some rectifying. This happens in such a way you never expected this to happen, but it comes in, and right on the heels of it, you have blessing and reward suddenly coming in. This is going to be extremely unexpected. It's going to feel a little bit like a windfall, but it's also going to feel very much like a vindication. Some of you, this situation that you went through, there was something really shicey that happened here. That made it a very unjust sort of scenario. It wasn't just a dynamic split, but it was really kind of unjust. And so in a lot of ways, I feel, Cancer, that for some of you, justice will be done with this tower moment, and you'll be put right back where you're supposed to be, in your garden of luxury. 10 of Swords, 3 of Cups, and a Knight of Cups. So some of you are definitely coming out of a very difficult period. 10 of Swords, there's the struggle and the strife is behind you. Some of you may have broken up out of a relationship that no longer serves you. Whatever the case may be, you come in this week and you are absolutely on top of the world. You're socializing, you're hanging out with friends, you feel good. This is definitely a feeling this week of celebration that some long struggle that you've been on is now done. Some burden has been lifted, or some difficult path in your life is now over. This could be this could be celebrating a divorce or a separation, right? It could be celebrating getting on with your life after a really difficult time with someone, or a difficult time at a particular job. Whatever the case may be, you celebrate the end of it, right, with your friends this week. And for some of you, a Knight of Cups comes in and you meet a new lover. There's a lot of flirting and a lot of passion that goes on. So for some of you Cancers, You go out this week, you socialize, and I know that that's a really general reading. I'm sure there's plenty of Cancers out there that are going to go out this week and socialize and flirt with somebody. But what I'm saying is this is very specific message to any Cancers watching my video who has really been through a difficult time recently that took a real toll on them, right? And they may not have even been out celebrating with friends for quite some time. And so this week is going to be a real week of sort of like, you know, reacquainting yourself with everybody and definitely suddenly flirting and passion with somebody new in your life. 7 of Cups, Ace of Swords, and the 4 of Wands. Okay, so 7 of Cups talks about delusional thinking, talks about really pie in the sky attitudes, you know, having this fairy tale sort of idea about something when it's not actually true. It's very dragonfly energy. So you come into this week, and I think you realize this is the case. For some of you, you may indeed be realizing that you've been looking at a particular relationship through rose-colored glasses. You're kind of like not really facing up to the truth of a particular situation. But this week, the Ace of Swords comes in. The Ace of Swords brings with it truth, right? It brings the truth. It brings clear thinking and understanding. And where things before you may have been just really thinking that they were great or wishing for them to be great, this week you kind of get a lot of clarity and you get some solutions as to why things perhaps over here have been a little bit sort of out of sync. Right? Because 7 of Cups talks about wanting things in your life that are unrealistic to want, you know, and really sort of buying it. You know, it could be that somebody sold you a fairy tale, right? You believe them, right? And I think so in this way, this Ace of Swords comes in to kind of dispel all of this nonsense or whatever it was that you kind of, you know, you agreed to believe was going to be the case, which really it wasn't. And again, a lot of times it's because somebody sort of sold this sort of fantasy to you. This week, the clarity comes in, the victory comes in the sense that you're like, oh, okay, I see what's really going on here. You really wake up, but you come out to a 4 of Wands, which is really interesting. And it could be that some of you may have been led astray. You may have already been in a really good relationship with somebody, but something weird happened. Could have been part of this Mercury retrograde. There was some kind of weird thing, communication that happened, which kind of maybe led you astray for a moment or made you feel like the grass was greener on the other side. This week, the truth comes in, and it's really funny because you go right back to giving your relationship a chance again. You realize that whatever you were following here wasn't realistic at all. It wasn't going to be what they told you it was going to be or what you thought it was going to be. And you really feel like, oh, shit. But this week, I think you get a chance to like go back to your lover and let them know why you did what you did. This doesn't necessarily mean that you left them for another person, but you certainly sort of followed some kind of half-baked dream or idea of something. And now this week, for some of you, you're going back to sort of the previous relationship here with the 4 of Wands and kind of fixing it. This is the last one, Judgment. Knight of Swords, and the King of Cups. Again, this is another forecast about sort of letting go of judgment and misplaced guilt to come back together with a love connection, right? You come into this week with Judgment in a sense that you're starting to see a situation from all sides and realize what part you had to play in it, you know, and you know, also starting to realize, you know, your own hypercritical ways, or perhaps you may have been hypercritical about something, and you're starting to realize that, you know, you're starting to sort of soften your attitude, right, towards it. You're starting to let go of a little bit of your own guilt. So you're starting to forgive people a little bit for your judgments that you had against them. And this is all very good energy for a feeling of reconciliation and moving on. Knight of Swords comes in. And it's quite interesting because it's like the Knight of Swords really comes in at a time when we need to find a solution to something, right? When we need to fix something. It could be very well be, Cancer, that for some of you, this Judgment comes in and you realize that you really need to fix a particular dynamic with somebody. And so this week, you're really, really busy with this sort of trying to come up with a solution on how to get back with your person or to reconcile a particular situation that you realize here maybe went a little bit too far. And you're desperate to do it with this Knight of Swords. You're trying everything you can to try to fix this solution. You round the week out with a King of Cups in a sense that you decide, by the time here, you start the week off very much. I'm going to say for some of you, this is a real sort of intense sort of increase, right, of passion in a way. You start the week off lessening your mood, lessening your judgment and your attitude. You may have been very angry about something. The anger is starting to subside. You're starting to see like, oh shit, maybe I was too harsh. You enter this week really desperate to sort of find a solution and fix it. And then by the end of the week, you are absolutely convinced that you want to get this connection back, because King of Cups is very determined about who he wants, right, in his life, and that he wants a relationship with him. And it's almost as if, you start off the week just trying to fix it a little bit. By the end of the week, you're just like, I got to get them back. Not only do I have to fix it, but I have to get them back. Right? You become quite sort of focused on that, because I think for some of you, you realize exactly how passionately you feel for somebody. And you may have been in dragonfly energy recently. You may have been really thinking unrealistically about something, or you may have really had a situation sort of wrong. You may have just realized that you were just wrong about something, and the actions that you took possibly ruined the connection and with someone that now you're realizing, oh shit, now that for some of you, maybe you've come out of this kind of like, this haze here. This could very well be a leftover from Mercury retrograde, because when Mercury is in retrograde, we have all kinds of weird sort of communication problems, and the way we see each other and the way we see people look at us. And it's like everything is just really like a mess, and everyone can make a real mess of things when they don't mean to. And this feels like very much for some of you Cancers this week, a feeling of like desperately trying to write something that now it's almost like you wake up now, you realize how badly, this got fucked up. How truly badly this got fucked up. It was almost as if in the middle of it, you didn't even realize how bad it was. Now it's like maybe some of you, your relationship with someone you really, really love completely fell apart. And you may have been thinking at the time, well, I don't care. This isn't for me. And now you like wake up and you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking? Of course, I am absolutely in love with this person. I can't believe I was this sort of callous, or I can't believe I was this sort of like, unconcerned. I almost feel like I was, under the influence or something. I can't believe that I was, it's like that kind of panic that sets in for some of you. By the end of the week, you absolutely double down and you're like, you need to get this person back. Whether you get them back or not, you have your reconciliation is yet to be seen. All right, Cancer, this is your reading, December 1st to the 7th. If it resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share. Go ahead and leave me a comment below. Let me know how you feel about this, if any of this resonates with you. And there's plenty, I have all the links to your readings at the top of the description. If you want to get a private reading, follow that link at the top of your screen. Private readings are conducted exactly like this. You get you and I will share a private live stream that only you can view. We conduct the reading and I chat to you via telephone. Okay, so this is it, guys. Thank you so much. December 1st to the 7th for my lovely, lovely Cancers. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.